Welcome back to Absolutely. I'm here with the wonderful Andy Potter, and we're going to talk about all things The Boys Season 4 because you guys didn't get to hear our opinions on it, and I think you really want to. Andy,
Now, wait, okay, real quick. Did you and Ben film
oh, no.
boy? Okay, all right, all
Well,
right.
we filmed Gen V together, and we really enjoyed that. And I think
Right.
maybe, if I'm not wrong, and audience, you can check me on this, I think I filmed some Boys Season 3 stuff with him. But
Okay.
I loved Boys Season 3. That was awesome.
Season 3 was 2 and 3 were probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree. 2 and 3 are awesome.
One
I'll
was
be
good,
honest.
but it was like getting, it was still getting its legs.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
is a season that's really different because it's all about Huey in a
Mm.
way that like the other seasons aren't. Their other seasons are so clearly ensemble cast movie. Every
Right.
character is the main character. But my quick thoughts on season 4, I didn't like it. I think it's got some cool moments. I
Sure.
think it's definitely got some visuals that I like, character moments that I enjoy. There's fun,
Hmm.
but overall, I would call this a botched Avengers Infinity War. So it's a setup
Ooh,
movie for
intriguing.
the end game, for the
Right.
final.
Right.
I think they did it poorly.
Okay. I would say objectively, the show is still good. The
Mhm.
acting is fantastic across the board. I couldn't really point to an actor where I was like, I wasn't really feeling it.
Right.
Cara Urban is always good. Something Quaid, not Dennis Quaid. That's the dad.
Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid.
Wonderful Jack
Thank
Quaid.
you. Fantastic. Yeah, I would say everybody across the board is really good. I would say the writing is decent for the season. I would say subjectively, this is probably one of my least favorite. Or it
Yeah.
is my least favorite because I would say probably 3, 2, 1, 4.
Yeah.
If I had to like give them a value,
It's a genuinely good order.
It felt like a spinning the wheels kind of season.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, because I mean, pretty much every season at this point has gone Homelander bad. We got to stop Homelander. We come up with a plan to stop Homelander. It doesn't work.
Mhm.
It's kind of been where each season's been at, I think. But this one felt even more wheel spinny than the last couple.
No, it really,
If that
really
make any
did.
sense.
I mean, I feel like exactly the same way. I'm not gonna like none of the actors did anything wrong. They're wonderful. They worked incredibly. The writing was fine, but it's the worst written of all the seasons.
Fine. Yeah, that's a good way
Yeah.
to say it. I wouldn't say there was any like glaring like that doesn't even make any damn sense. What are you talking about?
Yeah. The Boys isn't meant to be like I just saw Logan for the first time. I know you guys are everyone's real excited about that. They've been giving me shit.
Wait, hold on. You have not seen Logan.
I hadn't seen Logan until 2 days ago.
What?
Okay.
Why?
Your brother gave me shit about this too.
Yeah, let's pause The Boys real quick. Why did it take you so long to see Logan?
My rainy day movie. It came out.
There have been a lot of rainy
year
days since 2016 when that movie
Oh,
came
specifically this year, we've had some rainy days. I
Yeah,
think.
I'm saying.
Look, it was my rainy day movie. It came out the year I graduated from high school. I was a huge Hugh Jackman Wolverine fan. I just like those movies are the first comic book movies I could get like really sink my teeth into pre-MCU, and I just loved him. So I was like, this is the last time he'll be on screen as this character. People love it. I've somehow navigated spoilers for a whole 8-9 years and never really gotten anything.
Because that came out like
2017.
Was it 2017? Okay, I couldn't
literally,
remember.
Dude. I mean, months. I think 2 months after it was my high school graduation, which is crazy because the woman who plays X-23 in that was 12.
Yeah, Laura.
They are 19 now, and I painfully.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Watching them, they did some press for something recently, and I was like, "This is a grown woman."
Oh,
I
she was in. She was in Acolyte.
I think so.
Yeah, she was in Acolyte. Yeah.
So I saved it as my rainy day movie. Kind of interesting to see it because it feels very like, oh, this happened before The Boys. I see where The Boys is like, oh, we can take our edge from Logan. We can build upon that. But Jack Quaid, or what is it? Billy Butcher and Huey have a very Charles Xavier Logan dynamic. Logan being Billy Butcher.
Yeah.
But it's like an older Huey that's like done with Billy's Butcher shit, and he's like, shut the up. I literally was about to say sorry, Dan, but I'm editing this, so sorry, Hassan. You got to edit the F-bombs out of this later. But
just beep over them.
Yeah, just beep. That's what I'm gonna do. It's I like a little and I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
gonna
yeah. But
here. You can throw one
anyway,
in there if you want to. I'm kidding.
yeah.
There it is. Um, I yeah, so I waited to see Logan. So that's like this well-written masterpiece that
Right.
does the
Yeah.
gore, the gratuity, the overindulgence in blood and violence. The Boys this season, like I've never really had an issue with how over the top it's been.
Mm.
This season felt like it was high on its own supply and that
Yeah, there was a and maybe it's I'm getting old or I don't know what it is. To be fair, I'm not even really that old. I'm 38,
Mhm.
but there was a
I'm
couple of scenes
25, dude. You're
I'm
ancient.
like I right, exactly. But there was a couple of scenes I'm just like, "Why? Why are we even watching this? Why is this happening right now?"
Yeah. It
The
just
I think the one that actually made me go, "Why?" was the guy who could multiply.
yes.
He was at, like, the
Yes.
right-wing
Yeah, yeah.
conspiracy con
Uh-huh.
thing, and
Oh
they
my
walk in
god.
the room, and he's, like, doing stuff to himself, and it's like but it literally served, like, no purpose.
It served
It was merely a, like, "Whoops, sorry," and then they close the door, and it's like,
that
"What is the
scene.
point of that?"
There's no point to that. And I think here's an issue with The Boys as a whole. They
Mm.
kind of take all the villains and the bad people are constantly doing like sexual deviancy.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And
Basically, all of the soups, realistically, it's all the soups
yeah,
are the worst people imaginable. And,
right.
if you got weird sex stuff, that doesn't make you a bad person, but
Literally doesn't make you a
they just
monster.
like compound it on top of. They're like they're a terrible person and they've got this weird sex thing.
Yeah, and it's like okay, we touch on assault with the deep very early on.
Yep.
In the comics, I think all the characters assault Starlight, which is very fun
They
because that
do.
comic book is
Yes.
written by a monster.
The comics
Um,
are awful. We
they're
did
horrendous.
after the first season, I had to do the first graphic novel, the first volume for Ben. Ben was like, "We got to do it. The show is blowing up."
Hmm.
And I read it, and I called him. I was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Because this comic is just bad. Even just from like a not even from a like a content standpoint, which the content is
Yeah,
awful. Just the writing, it's all bad. I was not a
dude.
fan.
I hate the art in that. Like, I'll go as far as say I don't even like
Yeah,
the art
yeah, the art
style of
is
that
I
book.
wouldn't even say the art is amazing. Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
I
Is it the same guy who did Preacher?
it is the
I
same guy who did Preacher.
Yeah, which
I know
I think the Preacher art's pretty good.
yeah,
I think The Boys was maybe earlier. I don't know.
I have no
Don't
idea.
quote me. Yeah, yeah.
It's just something but yeah, they definitely they talk about assault, and that is a gross
Mhm.
sexual activity
Yep.
that is not an activity. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But they loop that in with all these other things like I don't know, man. I'm not gonna go to an orgy, but if you want to go to an orgy, like that's your prerogative. That's not my business.
Yeah, yeah.
A herogasm is built up as this like really horrible, disgusting thing, and then obviously it's awesome, and everybody blows up. It's this whole crazy fiasco.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Into this season, we start what is a trend of torturing Huey for fun.
Yeah,
The
it did
whole
seem
season
that
is
way.
that.
Yeah, now that you say that, I didn't really pick up on that, but yeah, definitely. There was a lot of stuff against Huey.
I think we softly imply it in the video that's going to come out before this, and that's like our in memoriam bench stream. But I don't want to spoil things for you. But I was like, that's the reason I didn't like
Yes.
the season anymore.
Yeah, it was
Season 6, episode 4 or 5, I think. Oh, no, season 4, episode
episode
6.
6. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then they touch on it in the finale.
badly.
But yeah, but not even like this is horrible for Hugh. This is horrible for everybody involved. It's more of like an angry thing, and Huey just kind of brushes it off.
Let's
And
give
then they
it.
make a joke about it.
So this season opens with Huey's dad being on his deathbed.
Yes.
We are getting Huey go through the ringer of his dad, his mom's back, and then eventually his dad gets given Compound V, turns into a monster, kills a bunch of people, and then eventually dies.
Yep.
Horrible event
Yep.
that we have Huey go through. And then in the following episode, we have him wearing Web Weaver Spider-Man parody costume, which some of that is kind of funny.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
and then you have him
it goes
go
on too
into
long. is
It
the
goes on
problem.
way too long.
It starts out funny and then it turns into like, we're still on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which, by the way, Jack Quaid, before we get into like sexual assault and depression and all that, but Jack
Yes.
Quaid's character, oh my God, that guy is voicing Superman. He voiced a
Yeah.
version of Peter Parker in
Yep.
Across the Spider-Verse. Now he gets to play a parody
Yeah.
Spider-Man. He's just
Yeah.
kind of killing it across the board.
He's in a lot of stuff lately.
He tested for James Gunn's Superman. Did not make it.
Oh.
Obviously, he's
Yeah,
not the right fit.
I don't think I could see him as Superman.
No.
Like physically as Superman. He does a great job in
If he could
the
put
cartoon, yeah.
on 35 pounds of muscle and have darker hair, maybe. But even that,
Yeah.
I think David Cornswit's a pretty good pick.
Yeah,
But
he's pretty
yeah, Huey in the season is just being tortured. We pick up after his dad died. He's wearing this disgusting, smelly web weaver costume from another soup, sexual deviant drug addict, like a whole other myriad, a list of things that are crappy. He's wearing this disgusting costume, and he goes to what is, I guess, this is in universe Batman's sex dungeon, which is what
with
is that statement?
Sidekicks.
His sidekicks, which is fun little Robin parody.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
Fun is the word I use.
Fun's not the right word. That whole scene is horrible. You have Ashley assault him. You have Tech Knight assault him. You have Tech Knight show that he knew the whole time that was Huey. And then at the end of the episode, you get one moment where he's crying, where he's like, Ashley touched herself while tickling me or something like that.
Yeah, they're like talking to him and he says something effective like, I'm not doing so good, guys.
Yeah, he's talking to Starlight.
But same thing. It's like played as a laugh. It's not.
It's played as a laugh, and that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Then we get to body swap Starlight, which objectively, it's kind of a cool twist.
It is
not an expected twist on my end.
I did not see it coming, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had to like pause and be like, wait, did I miss something in the previous episode? But then they kind of do like a flashback. So,
which is I commend you for that, because Benny would do this review with me and he would simply think he missed something and then later say they didn't film a scene. He'd be like, well, they didn't even film anything to say. They just pretended that they body swapped. It's like, no, she says she's going to go up.
Yeah.
He goes to go do stuff. That's when it happens. So we get an ass shot of Starlight. And it's like, wait, that's not something the show has done, but hats off Aaron Murray. Like, good for you. I know a lot of the conversation of her this last year
has been a lot of
and that sucks and is very upsetting in a lot of ways. You guys can think what you want, but you shouldn't be commenting on some actress's profile about how they look. That's insane. I will say, all the people commenting negative things about her after the ass shot actually stopped. So I think they're like, oh, wait, actually.
Did it really? Oh, I didn't either.
Like,
I tend to ignore the internet a lot. So
that's for the best, because it's not like I benefited from knowing what a bunch of incels on Twitter are talking about.
Right.
We get the reveal that Huey is literally being assaulted every night by some random shape-shifting soup.
According to him, 20 times in 10 days.
Which... all right. Wait, but no, because it's not what it is.
I like you're like, all right, wait a second.
It's such a horrible thing. The way they do shape-shifting. Oh my God, that was disgusting.
It was
also kind of incredible, but
she's just like tearing off the skin, which is actually very similar, because it's Eric Kripke. It's very similar to the skinwalkers in Supernatural. That's how they do it. But in Supernatural, because it's a CW show, they didn't focus on the tearing the skin as much. It was never as graphic. It was usually like they find piles. They'd find piles and you'd see like a little bit, like a close up. They didn't do like the whole thing like they do in
it was something yucky. Which Supernatural tie-in, your little your multiplying eat ass guy, he was a Supernatural guy. Apparently.
So was Kessler.
Kessler was.
The
Gen V girl, Maddie, she's in a later season of Supernatural, from what I'm told.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's lots of Eric Kripke takes care of his own, which is
the real question is, when is
he's got a season. He has to be in this next
season.
Yeah,
he's got to be in the next season.
We need Jared Padalecki.
Yeah, thank you. I could not think of his name off the top of my head.
Dude, it's tough sometimes. I mix them up a
really
lot.
long names.
It is. It's very it's not Canadian. I don't think he's Canadian. It feels very Canadian.
I think they're both from Texas, actually. Him and Jensen Ackles.
That's pretty cool. That makes sense. Jensen's such a Texas man.
Yeah, I think
if he wasn't an actor, he'd work on a farm and be a sheriff or something.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
So that's what we don't like in The Boys. We can double back and talk about things we did like throughout this season, because that was just very much like, I got to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Because then we pick up with Starlight later, who finds out and is angry at Huey for being assaulted, as if
Yeah.
and here's the thing. She's valid to be resentful of him for not
Sure.
recognizing it was her,
Yes.
but to not then share in the grief together of
Mm.
like, I was just manipulated. My dad had just died. I was finally happy. Things felt normal. It's not because of you. It's because I am going through my own thing. I was just assaulted for a whole episode. Now I was assaulted for 10 days. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
instead she's mad at him. And then,
And
people
then they
write it
just
off.
play it off as like a joke. She
She
says,
says you're gonna get tested for every single illness because you don't want to get soup herpes or something,
yeah,
or
something
soup
like that.
syphilis.
Yeah. And then he
Yeah.
smiles and they
Yeah.
walk down, to whatever it is they were doing at that exact
Yeah.
moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. It's
Yeah. I think the writing was kind of, I don't know if poor taste is the word, that's the only word I can think of, or the only term I can think of. It was kind of in poor taste, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of like things I just didn't care for in the season before we get to what we like, I could not give less of a shit about Frenchie's storyline. I I don't
It
care.
does, it does seem a little
Forced. Like
forced, yeah,
people
because
really
we've
like
gone 3
Frenchie.
seasons where Frenchie is, yeah, he's a drug addict and he's an assassin, but he's also very charismatic and,
Mhm.
him and Kamiko have a fun relationship, which is like, 2 people have horrible things that's happened in their life, but they've come together, not necessarily as a love thing, although it does go in that
Turns
direction
into
this
that.
season,
I
which I
caught me off
liked,
guard. I liked it.
I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
good," but, they kinda come together and they're there for each other and they're kinda, it's a loving relationship without being a in-love relationship up to this season. So yeah, the whole, like, I'm gonna go turn myself in
Mhm.
and then that only lasts like an episode.
Which
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, like,
I didn't care for his storyline with Colin, his like,
yeah,
"I
yeah,
killed his parents and now I'm sleeping with him. I'm not happy."
yeah,
It's like, I don't care.
yeah.
I don't
If you
care
weren't
about
happy
this. Like,
about it, you would stop doing it.
well, it's like he is such a good side character in his
Yeah.
own scenes. I think that because audiences like him, they felt the need to flesh him
Give him
out.
maybe yeah, give him more of a storyline this
More
season.
of a leading presence
Yeah,
than
yeah,
I
I can
think
see
he
that.
frankly kind of deserves as a character.
Yeah.
He is at its best when it's to do with Kimiko's storyline more as an accessory to
Mm,
her and her narrative and her development than as his own thing. You had the one funny moment in season 3 where he finally like talks back to Butcher and he like kind of like gets on a roll of being like, "Hey, no, you're not going to talk to me like this." And he's like freaking out at him because he grows a pair of balls. That's really what
yeah,
it is
yeah,
because
yeah.
he's done being run around. He was run by little Nina. Now he's being run around with Butcher. That's really cool. And it was done well because it was in the background of everything else. He had a couple scenes to himself. This was too much. You don't even, I guarantee they film shit of him in prison and they cut all of that
No,
because
I can see that, yeah.
something's missing from all of that. It
He
just
just kinda
feels wrong.
disappeared for, like, an episode, and then he just comes
Yeah,
back.
maybe the actor had a conflict or something and was filming
Maybe.
something
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
But it puts Kimiko on the sidelines in a really crappy way during a
She's
time where
probably
I
one of
feel
my favorite characters too.
she's my favorite
Yeah,
character.
yeah, yeah.
Honestly, she's wonderful. Karen Fukuhara does so well with that role.
Katana in Suicide Squad?
Yeah, right?
Didn't
Oh
even
my god.
realize that for the longest time, actually.
Dude, it's funny how many people back to the X-Men movies for whatever reason, how many people play the same roles in those
Yeah,
movies
yeah,
or
yeah,
like the
yeah,
same characters come
yeah,
back played by different actors never addressed.
yeah.
But what is it? The woman who played Katana played a version of Yukio in one of the X-Men thing. It's like a whole
Oh,
circular
yeah,
thing.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And then the Deadpool Yukio is just like the sweet girly pop
Right,
pirate,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
funny and wonderful. Um, yeah, I don't think Frenchie's storyline. I didn't care about it
I
very
didn't
much.
it didn't work, in my opinion. Like I said, I felt forced is probably the
Mhm.
best way to put it, yeah.
Like, are you watching? You're watching House of the Dragon, right?
Yes.
It's like when the action's happening in Dragonstone and King's Landing, and we cut to Damon having hallucinations in Harrenhal. I don't give a about Damon having hallucinations. Nobody cares about Damon.
Yeah,
This
yeah, yeah.
is now the 6th episode in a row where there's been a side plot that is him
Like, just go do
hallucinating.
something,
Well,
goddammit.
it's
What are
like
you doing?
the shock value of a hallucination goes away when we all know
Yeah.
it's a hallucination
Yeah,
and what he's seeing doesn't matter and what he's doing doesn't matter. Doesn't feel like it matters. And that's how Frenchie's storyline felt this season. Um,
yeah,
now,
yeah.
now we should talk about things we love because we're 19 minutes into a review of Hatred,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
which is
Well,
very unbrand.
that's the thing. It's like there is a lot I liked about the season as a whole. Well, there's a lot I like about the show, and that just kind of carried over into the season. I think Carl Urban as Butcher is fantastic.
Awesome. He's so good.
He's so
And
good.
he's
I think
playing
he's a
Stick really
very
well.
underrated actor in my opinion. He should
He
be bigger.
is. Dude,
I yeah.
his facial expressions are so silly. He's like, "Oi, oi, oi, oi,
I do like
oi."
how he says
It's
oi
like
everything.
so
And I
hilarious.
like, you know what I like about Billy Butcher in general is even when he knows it's not gonna work, he tries it anyway. Like when he shoots Newman in the head.
Mhm.
Like, you know that's not gonna work. You're aware of how fighting soups works. You know, no matter how, I guess some of them probably can't be bulletproof, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But
But I think most of them are bulletproof, or
it's
they're
like
not
it's
bulletproof for,
like
like,
a
quick healing.
like yeah, exactly, or just really like durable. Like
Yeah,
it
because
seems to be kind of like
Firecracker
a
has lame
basis.
powers where she just does little fire sparkies,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
is a durable person, so
Right,
that's
right.
why
So it's
they're
kind of like across the board, you kind of get like a
Mhm.
baseline of superpowers, it seems. But then like he's fighting Black Noir later on, Black Noir 2, apparently.
Mhm.
And he's just shooting it with a shotgun. It's like, that's not gonna work, but what else is he gonna do? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, we'll go with what we know, I guess.
mhm. He played this season so well. His scenes with Ryan
Mhm.
are incredible. His like, I don't know how quickly you picked up on the twist of,
Honestly, are we good with spoilers? Are we
oh,
good?
we're great.
We're
We've
good
been in
with
spoiler
spoilers? All right.
territory. This whole thing is
I
spoilers.
honestly did not, and I'm very good about picking up twists. My wife hates it. I did not pick up the twist. It never dawned on me that he was always alone with Kessler.
Yeah,
For
it dawned
whatever
on me so
reason,
quickly.
it did not dawn on me. And I'm usually very good about that sort of thing. So when he yells at Becca, when Kessler yells at Becca, both me and my wife were like, wait, what? He could see Becca? Because obviously Becca is a
Yeah,
hallucination. We got
yeah.
that. So it's like, wait, he could see Becca? And then the reveal, and I looked at my wife. She was like, did you see that coming? I was like, I honestly did not guess that one. Like, it's one of the few times I don't guess a twist.
Dude, that one was played out so well.
That was really
I
well done.
I had guessed it pretty soon, but I'd also misguessed it. I was like, is Huey's mom also like a compound V
Mm.
hallucination? And then eventually Zach
I
comes
was
back and they
going with
interact.
she was working with Vought. That was
Yeah.
my thought. I was like, there's something suspicious about the mom. She's got to be working for Vought. And
Oh yeah.
obviously she wasn't. She was just a really shitty mom that came back,
She's just
I
a
guess. Yeah.
very, very shitty mom.
Yeah.
All
Like,
of it. She's like selling cosmetic. She's doing with like, like there's the trope of like the dad who runs off to get milk and like is doing some
yeah,
random thing.
yeah. And he's just doing
Every
bullshit. Yeah, yeah.
every time anybody in my real life's mom has walked out of them, they've ended up selling like Mary Kay Cosmetics, which is
Really?
like they're selling Vought cosmetics in this
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a trope in the real world,
Interesting.
sadly. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like you should, if you're gonna leave your children, go on to do bigger and better things, I'd hope. But
I
I don't know.
guess. I mean, the argument is like, if you're gonna do it, you might as well go big.
If you're gonna
I
do something
guess.
horrible, you should do
Yeah,
something cool with your life after that. Don't be like miserable and then
yeah,
have
yeah,
also
yeah,
made
yeah.
other people miserable.
Yeah. I
Shout
guess
out to
that's a
the
good
kids whose mom
argument.
left in the comment section.
I guess that's a good argument.
Um,
I want somebody in the comments to be like, "Yeah, well, yeah, my mom left, but
my
like,
mom sells
she became
cos.
like a senator,
Yeah,
so it's okay, I guess."
that's a good segue because I love Billy's performance.
Yes.
Easily my standout favorite character in the last couple seasons, Victoria Newman.
Really good.
Love how
Honestly,
she
I
plays it.
think her motivations make a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Like she does awful things, not as awful as like Homelander, but she
No.
does awful things. But the reasoning behind it makes sense. So the part where in this season where she kind of gets, I mean, brought into the Vought Homelander stuff, and she's like, "Nope, I'm out. I don't want to do
Mhm.
this. Like, I can't do this. This is awful." So yeah, really like her as a character. I think she's really good, and the actress is really good.
Yeah.
With the whole
I'm
head
gonna
power
say
thing.
it.
Okay,
That goddamn actress is gorgeous. Oh my god, she's so
she's
beautiful.
very pretty. She's
She's
very
very,
pretty.
very pretty. And then she, in real life, is dating Jack Quaid. So they
Oh,
have a
good for
very
him. Yeah, yeah.
unintentional chemistry every time they're on screen together.
Honestly, when was it the second season when she first appears and he's like her
Yeah.
aide?
Oh
I
no, it's a third.
actually
It's a third.
is the third. Okay.
Mhm.
I actually thought they were going to be a thing.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
thought it, and then it would be like he's got two soup
Yeah.
girlfriends, and it would be like a whole
It would either
Three's
be
Company
they
kind of
break up
thing.
or it would be a throuple because they're
Yeah, yeah,
pushing that on TV these
that is true.
days.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out Challengers, good movie, but yeah, that's what they were pushing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah, I got that from the trailer, and I didn't even see the
oh, it's
movie.
you haven't seen the movie
I
yet?
haven't seen the movie. It
Hey, it's
didn't
kind of a
really
great movie.
is it? I was gonna say, it wasn't one of those ones I rush out to theaters for. I
It
might catch it on
never
something.
piqued my interest at all, and I
Yeah.
went and saw it, and I watched it 2 more times. I was like, "What about this movie is so entertaining to
Interesting.
me?"
Yeah, yeah.
Jack Quaid and I can't remember this actor's name, but Victoria Newman
Oh,
in real
yeah, yeah,
life,
yeah.
they are,
I looked it up the other day, actually.
they're
Hold
such
on.
an attractive couple. I think they make each other hotter. Like, Jack Quaid looks a lot more handsome in real life when he
That's
sits
funny.
next to her.
Sure.
But yeah, she's really fun, and I'll be honest,
It
I
is
think killing her
Claudia Dumais.
Dumais. Yeah,
Dumais? Okay, yeah.
Dumois, something.
I think she is
Uh,
French. And she's
she
Australian.
Yeah, she's an Aussie. I saw her in an interview,
Mm.
and I was like, "Oh, whoa."
Yeah, they always
Uh,
surprises me, yeah.
yeah, well, because then you get, like, Billy Butcher's, like, British accent, and he's
He's,
an Aussie.
he's a Kiwi. He's,
He's a
from New
Kiwi.
Zealand. He's, from New
Oh.
Zealand, yeah.
It's a horrible accent, what he's putting on. It's, like, really funny, but it's horrible.
For
Um,
Billy Butcher? Well, because it's
it's
almost like
supposed to be.
it's cartoony Irish or Scottish or
Mhm.
wherever he's supposed to be from.
Oh, it's cartoony Cockney British is what it is.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's why it's 'cause he makes up words. "Oh,
Yeah.
you gonna tickle your little bum hole,"
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was like, "What
yeah.
are you saying, man? Stop. Chill out." Um, yeah, so I think it was a mistake to kill her, to be honest. I think that she
Mm,
was really fun, and you coulda handled her in the finale, and people really liked her character. Like,
yeah,
people really love
yeah.
her. I'm not sure what else you do with her, but you brought her onto the good side. You could have her be killed by somebody else or
Well,
have Butcher come back later, but
you could do the same route you did with, like, Stan Edgar. Like, you
yeah.
don't kill him, but you take him off the board, and maybe he can show up later.
Yeah, that's what they
You
did
know?
with, Maeve too. Maeve will probably
Yeah,
come back at
exactly.
some
Yeah,
point.
yeah, and Soldier Boy,
And
not
Soldier
dead.
Boy, he's coming back. He definitely is coming
Yeah,
back
yeah,
based
I
on
was gonna
that.
say, and
And I think
whoever Jared Padalecki's gonna play.
he also plays Soldier Boy. They're
Just
like,
an all
"What?"
he's Soldier Boy too, like, after
No,
the
dude,
first one
he's
disappeared?
the original
Oh,
Soldier Boy, but
I
they just
see it.
pretend it's the same actor.
That'd
Jason
be
and Jared
funny.
switch roles. It'd be
That'd be
very,
really
very
funny.
funny.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake to kill her off, but her
Mm,
motivations are really clean. I like watching her journey throughout the season. The biggest issue is that the payoff is cut short because
mm.
of Billy's transition to his parasite, turning him into a soup crazy villain, which is an interesting twist.
Yeah, yeah.
We're definitely gearing towards comic book finale, which
I
I
it
no
does seem
spoilers.
that way. Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely seems that way. So, here's my thing, though, and I think it's taken 4 seasons, but Billy's kinda right, is the problem. Like, so it kinda seems like that's where they have to go with the comics, because his thing is all soups are bad, right? They're all
mhm.
evil, they're all, psychopaths and whatnot, and sociopaths and blah, 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 blah. The show doesn't show us that he's wrong.
No, he's not.
There's, like, a handful of good soups, but then even, like, Starlight, she freaks out, starts beating up people, and she's like, "Yeah, I just lost control." You know, Huey's dad immediately goes kinda psycho, and he's killing people, not on purpose, but it happens, and then,
Yeah,
it's like, I get Huey's point of view, but everything the show has shown us has been kinda Billy's right.
yeah. As much as we like some of these characters, you
Yeah,
can't deny the fact that Kimiko is a killer.
right?
Starlight is a killer. Queen Maeve is a killer. Even Ryan. Ryan is the
Ryan
youngest soup. Ryan kills people. Ryan kills a guy by accident, and then at the end of the end, he kills Mallory on
Yeah,
purpose,
and he kinda
intentionally.
starts leaning towards the Homelander thing, like, when he's, like, messing with the producer on the movie,
Yeah,
and you could tell he's kind of enjoying it. He's got that
yeah,
smile. Yes, Homelander pushed him that way, but then he kinda leans into it. So it's like, is Butcher wrong? That they all
yeah,
need to die? You know? A-Train had a redemption arc this season.
yeah.
But even
Doesn't
his
change
redemption
everything
arc
he's done.
well, that's the thing, but even his redemption arc wasn't necessarily like he felt bad about it. It was that, "Oh, that kid smiled at me and actually looked at me like I was a superhero."
It's that my brother hates me, and I want something to
Exactly.
do with my
It
family because I've been a monster.
Right, it's not, "Oh my god, I can't believe I've done these horrible things." It's, oh my God, people are actually looking at me like I'm a real superhero, which I like.
Yeah. Very
You
different.
know?
As a whole,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's out that's, like, a very different narrative that's being spun there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know, it's like I very much I'm a big fan of a lot of these characters, and I love them, and I
Mm.
want them to win, and I want them to be happy and to not be psychopaths that are killing people, but time and time again, like, Huey
We've
has a thing about
steered
it.
that way.
Yeah, we steer that way, and Huey's like, "Do you know I don't even flinch when I'm covered in blood now? Because it happens so often," you
That's
know?
probably Jack Quaid as well. That was probably just him saying it, and they were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
film that. It
"Oh, that's
sounds
great,
good."
put it in the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even
in the
flinch when you
show.
cover me in probably, like, red dye 40 syrup
Yeah,
to
yeah,
look
yeah,
like
yeah,
blood."
yeah.
Oh god, some of it's so disgusting. Um, yeah, I don't know, Billy might be right, but I'm not gonna give him the goddamn satisfaction. I'm
I'm admitting it.
anti-Billy.
I'm admitting it.
Yeah. I love how he looks, how he's dying, and like how he looks. He's like gaunt, his eyes are sunken in.
Yeah.
And then when you pick up on Terminator Billy Butcher, he's younger. He
He just
looks
walks in
immediately.
looking good. Like, well, not
Yeah.
good. You know, I'm not saying, well, I mean, Carl was an
Hey, he's
ugly
very,
man,
very
but he
handsome man.
walks in looking very healthy. And it's like,
Yeah. Uh, this is
he
gonna go
he
badly.
sided with Kessler on this one.
He sided with Kessler. Um, it's funny if you just cut out the last scene of them all getting kidnapped. It's almost like not a redeeming the season, but it's like, okay, I'm happy to know that they've run away, and maybe we could have picked up with them all being taken to
Kidnapped, like
prison.
that's how it, yeah. Or
Yeah,
like
but also it's
they've all gotten to some place, but Vought and Homelander have spread so far that they, yeah,
yeah.
that
I
probably
just
would have
wanted
been
to
a
win.
better way to, yeah, end the season with them escaping, start the next season with them all getting captured.
I think The Boys has done a good job of giving us a win at the end of each season, and it
Mm.
doesn't feel like a resounding A plus, like everything is solved. But season 2, you had girl power fight against Stormfront,
Girls really do get it done.
and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's Frenchie who
Yeah,
says
it's
that. Yeah,
Frenchie. He's like,
yeah, girls do get it done.
because they're
It's
just like
awesome.
standing in a circle beating her.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's one of my
yeah,
favorite scenes
yeah,
in media, I think. It's
yeah.
better. It's so to say that this is a shitty Avengers Infinity War, it does what Avengers Endgame does so much better and give us that girl power scene that actually is like
Yeah,
worth it,
yeah.
as valuable. You have the sadness of Becca being killed, but you kind of feel hopeful. At the end of season 3, they take down Soldier Boy, Twist, Maeve is actually alive, which I actually forgot into watching the season.
Mm.
As the season's been airing, I've been rewatching all of The Boys with my girlfriend's never seen it, my best friend's never seen it. So they were watching season 3 for the first time, and
Oh, okay.
I was like, "Oh yeah, well, Maeve makes it out." I fully thought Maeve had died, and then I was like, "Wait, what the hell?
Oh
She's
my God.
fine,
She's
dude.
alive.
It's great. She's coming back." But yeah, you get resolutions, and this one you don't. But I think that's why it
Yeah.
wants to be this Avengers Infinity War. It wants to be the setup. It just doesn't feel as fulfilling. Like Sage's whole plan coming to fruition.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
love her as a character, by the way. I don't know how you felt
no,
about her.
yeah. I like I mean, I like the idea of the character more than how she was portrayed, I guess.
Yeah,
But I guess that also could have been because she was keeping a lot of stuff.
yeah.
And it's kind of like, because you're like half the season, you're like, oh, maybe Sage is as smart as she thinks because her plan's not really working out. And then in the end, she goes, oh, no, I already planned all of that. That was
That was
100% how it
kind of
was
my
supposed to
guess the whole
happen.
time because they
Yeah.
imply that she's literally the smartest person. I mean, they don't imply it, they outright say
They
it.
say it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, she also put alt-right Barbie doll in front of Homelander on purpose. Like that was
Right.
all really
Yeah.
intentional. So when he like switches sides to Firecracker, there's no way she didn't see that coming.
Mm.
I think it's funny that she
I
put
think
like
just
this
to have her
childish
come in
wonder.
at the end and just be like, "Oh yeah, no, that was all I got it."
Yeah,
You
maybe
know,
we needed a
it
Knives
was,
Out, Glass Onion,
yeah,
like
it was
read
kind of a
like
cop out
flashback scene.
deal. Yeah,
It did.
yeah,
It
yeah,
would have been cool for her to go into her. I mean, she was like Newman is a bad patsy, too many ideas. But maybe it would have been fun to like see her map this out. Maybe there's like a flashback sequence while she's
yeah,
talking.
yeah, something along those lines.
Um,
Or
but I just wasn't a fan in general of that character. New Noir is really funny. I think that was funny.
I like his
Played
constant. I
by
need the same actor.
the same actor, the actor who's been playing
Yeah,
him the
yeah,
whole time with
yeah,
the
yeah.
mask off because they had a different actor play him
In the
in the
flashback.
flashback
Yeah,
sequence.
yeah, yeah.
That was cool.
I thought it was funny. I like. I just like his constant. Like, what's my motivation? Like,
What's going on here?
his house is just like a dojo, but it's just full of that crappy cartoon merchandise. He's like, he doesn't even know karate. Like it seems like, yeah,
Don't know what's going on with him. And then I
yeah,
like, he goes, "Did you know that I can fly?" And then the scene where he flies, he goes, "Oi, what's going on here?"
yeah.
It's so
I like that
funny.
because they're like, holy shit, he can talk, and then he's like, holy shit, he can fly,
Yep.
and then he's a
Uh,
narcoleptic. Like,
right. Man,
that was actually fun.
it was
I
funny.
like how they decided like because the previous seasons they've kind of had like the deep kind of like, oh, he's an idiot, but maybe he's not so bad. And then this season they're like, nope, he's an idiot and he's terrible. He's like they never flat out said like he's not so bad. It was just like he had a couple of moments where you're like, oh, he's just kind of a dumbass. Like
Did you notice who voices his lover, the octopus?
I did not.
Tilda Swinton.
Is it really? That's
It's
funny.
literally Tilda Swinton voicing Ambrosia, the octopus.
That's funny. Actually,
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, they make him a full-on maniacal supervillain.
just flat out. He's like, I get murder boners.
I
Like
love the first you tried cancel me because I guess that's cool to
his
do to white
white
guys
guys
nowadays.
now. Like, oh Lord.
Well, Me Too is over, sweetheart. Womp womp. It's one of
Yeah.
the funniest scenes
Yeah.
in the whole show.
Wait, and then I like it because then he spouts off. It's funny because he spouts off shit that is like it's the other side where they come up with like he's like, I do not respect your truth. And it's funny because it's like kind of making fun about that's one of the things I do like about The Boys is it makes fun of both sides.
Yeah,
Like the previous seasons where they do kind of like the A train messaging where it's like, well,
yeah,
we really got to hit this demographic, and that's very much like a Disney thing, but then they make fun of they make fun of the right with like the conspiracy con. It's like they just
yeah.
make fun of the extremes at both ends, which I
They
like.
do. They do. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like the Starlighters on some level are just as extreme as the other people, and they do
yeah,
a good job
yeah.
of highlighting that. It's funny because, like, throughout a lot of you're not on the internet, so you missed the discourse on it, but like right wing people were really angry because they're like, hey, this show used to have nuance. Now it's going full thought. It's like, no, the show is the same.
It
You
still
guys are
has
just,
nuance. You're just focusing more heavily on one thing. Like the
yeah,
people who are complaining, I mean, are just
they're
focusing more
they're
heavily on.
hyper focusing on it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're taking literal Trump quotes and putting it in
Oh,
there
well
now. Like,
like
that's
they
different
had
too.
like what was it? The final thing was on January 6th. Like it
Yeah.
was very on the nose with that. I will say that. There's no
Oh
reason to
yeah.
get upset about it because they're still making fun of the other side.
That's it. Just yeah.
It's maybe the making fun of the left is more nuanced than it was with the
Honestly,
right,
in
maybe,
all
but
honesty, it's how the real world is because
well,
it's
yeah,
like
it is. Yeah, yeah, 100%.
about the left is doing cringe shit all the time. I'm literally a leftist, and I'll say it, doing cringe shit
Yeah,
constantly, but it's understated. The right is doing cringe shit and being like, "Hey guys, blah blah
yeah,
blah
yeah,
blah blah, supervillain monologue, blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah,
yeah,
anti-human rights, blah blah." So it's like they're both idiots.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the show is very fun in that regard. Um, and it's like Eric Kripke's beliefs are very clear throughout it. So I
Oh
think it's
yeah,
funny if anybody's like questioning what
yeah,
narrative
yeah,
he's trying to
yeah,
get across. Like, dude, this guy, he's a Hollywood CW writing
yeah.
uh, liberal writer director man. Like what he's putting on the story that is his reflection of what the country is. So
Yeah.
the original episode was titled Assassination Run, the final episode of the season.
Oh
It was
yeah,
changed to the season 4 finale because there was an assassination attempt on the
yeah,
president
yeah.
1 week prior. So they had to change. And that's why we had the whole like advisory warning of like, this is not to reflect
Oh,
things happening
okay.
recently. This was written and filmed a long
It didn't
time
even
ago.
dawn on me when I was watching it that like they probably changed it because of that.
To
Like I
be
didn't even
real,
think about it. Yeah, yeah.
it was an assassination attempt feels like big news, but
Mm.
it was like really not that interesting to me in the grand scale. I was like, okay, cool.
Well, yeah.
Moved on with my day. I forgot that it happened until I saw a
Right. Yeah,
meme
yeah.
like yesterday, and I was like, oh, you guys remember when? That's
I
crazy,
looked it up
man.
after it happened. I didn't realize how many assassination attempts on presidents there have been. There's more than you would naturally assume.
Really
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. That's a rabbit hole we should go down at
Yeah,
some point and look it up.
that's a
That's
different
another thing. That's another
podcast.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to make my way through all the characters. I like Mother's Milk a lot. I know
Mm.
a lot of people thought he was recasted at the beginning of the
I
season.
saw that. That made me laugh because he's lost a little bit of weight and he shaved the beard.
That's it. That's it.
So he
And
looks a little thinner and he
yeah.
doesn't have the beard. That's it.
He explained the actor explained it at some point where he was like he got really yoked to be in
Mm.
the first 2 seasons because he wanted to be like Mother's Milk in the comics throughout COVID, and then into season 3 he'd eaten a lot of food. he felt a lot rounder, which is crazy because I think he looks
I
fantastic
was
that
just
whole season.
I don't remember him being like chubby in season
He
3.
felt as though he was chubby and he hit a point where he
Good.
wasn't happy with how he looked. So he decided he's the leader now. He's the skipper. He's going to get lean. He's going to shave the beard. That was all his choices. And I think it played out fine.
Yeah.
I'm always a big Mother's Milk fan. There was a couple moments where I was kind of unhappy with him, but then I rewatched season 3 and I was like, dude, Butcher really did he drugged MM at one point.
Yep.
He tried to use the guy who destroyed MM's life to his own
Yep.
personal gain, and in the end he couldn't even do that because of his own personal shit. So like I get why MM hates Butcher.
Oh, I was just say the way the team reacted to Butcher 100% makes sense based off the last season.
Yeah, which I just
even
missed.
taking the temp V, like, you know, when they learned he was taking the temp V and all that stuff, it's like, you know, obviously you're not going to fully trust it. At least I wouldn't fully trust this guy anymore. But
No, really can't. Talking about it, I really love the characters. I really love the individual moments. Starlight's powers being off all season kind of was stupid. There's no real payoff to that other than the end.
I feel like her whole thing of like, it's like Starlighter is another person. I was, that one also felt forced to me, like the Frenchie thing. Yeah. Honestly,
no, totally agree.
Because she hasn't done that the entire series so far. You know, she like the last season, she's stepping away from Vought, but she's still like, she's like basically like, I want people to know that there is a good soup out here kind of thing. And to then this season be like, no, that's like a whole other person. And I need to distance myself from that. You can distance yourself from the actions, but not necessarily like treating it like the costume was its own character.
Felt silly.
Yeah. I could understand the thought process behind it. I don't think the execution was very good.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
Like across the board, I get the exact same feelings towards it. I think it felt like angry, like boring for no reason, like preachy for no reason. Like, what are we preaching about? Like, what's the real world equivalent of this? Like, I don't know of one. Like, okay, I'm not NBA superstar LeBron James now. I'm just LeBron James. It's like, okay, but you were still the NBA superstar, LeBron.
Or
like
maybe like a recording artist, like I have to separate myself from my previous
Childish Gambino and Donald Glover. Maybe it's
something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. And he's both. He's Childish Gambino Glover. Like it is what it is. Yeah, that storyline was boring.
Yeah, I didn't feel it. Her stuff with Firecracker was fun. I think that was good.
It was electric. Their fights were electric. Their arguments were electric.
Yeah, exactly. Their debates, and it turns out she was also on the superhero pageant circuit. Yeah. Like, and then you know, Starlight had done terrible things to her. That stuff was all good. It was just the Starlight part.
Yeah.
The separation of the persona from Annie, I think, was not very well done.
Yeah, and I think that's like the general feelings on the season are that it's exactly what we said in the beginning. This is a season that we really want to like because of how much we liked the 3 prior seasons, but they make it really goddamn hard. Now, this might be better once it's packaged with the next season.
That's the thing. That to me, this felt like Eric Kripke or whoever the writers and stuff were like, well, we got season 5. We're doing season 5, right? That's it. We're done at season 5, but we got to get to season 5. Like, so instead of doing what you would have done, you know, maybe incorporate or whatever, they were like, oh, we got to do season 4. So we got to get to season 5. You know, we got some ideas with Butcher. We got to get him there. We you know, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get Homelander to where he's basically running the country. All right.
We have to fully radicalize Ryan. Ryan wasn't evil last season. We have to get to the finish line. A lot of these characters. I think that there was probably a better way to do it. I don't know why, but something about this season, the trivializing sexual assault is one that I really dislike.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah.
It's one thing when the bad guys do it on the show. That happens all the time.
That makes sense.
To have the boys do
evil.
They're villains.
They're villains. That makes sense. That's so you can hate them. That's the point of villain. Not always, but you know.
But yeah, in this specific instance,
in this specific sense.
To be fair, we had a guy say "womp womp" to sexual assault. That is a bad guy, and that's
exactly
that's evil. To have Starlight say "fuck you, Huey" over it, that's really weird. It's a very weird, intense reaction.
You can be, like you said, you can be mad that he didn't realize it wasn't her.
Right.
You could be upset about that. That's fine. for anyone who's kidnapped by a shapeshifter, just so we're clear.
course.
Anyone in the
Total
audience.
Totally valid.
Yeah. That's a fine argument. But yeah, to then go that way with it, yeah, that doesn't.
It felt heavy-handed and unnecessary and silly, and that's kind of what this whole season felt like.
Yeah.
There's some other characters we didn't touch on and other moments and story beats, like, Homelander's breast milk obsession comes in full circle in a really weird, yucky, strange way.
But only once. And then
Only
they never
once.
bring it up again.
Which is good, I
Yeah,
think.
well, yes,
No,
it is
they
good
bring
they
it up.
didn't bring it up, but it's like, why do it if you're not?
Well, they brought it up. She tried to seduce him
That's
again,
true.
and he wasn't interested in her milk anymore. Yikes, dude! I hate saying that. That felt really disgusting.
It's a
coming out
weird
of her mouth.
sentence.
I hate that so much.
Need to take a shower after that.
That's exactly what I will be doing. But yeah, a lot of unrealized ideas.
Homelander's like going back to like where he grew up, for lack of a better way to put it,
and killed everybody there.
Killed everybody. Which, if you didn't know, that was what was going to happen.
Like, how did you?
Yeah,
not
how
know?
could you not see that coming?
He brought up a cake with him. What else is he going to do? He's going to kill Wedgie the whale. It was so horrendous. All of that was so horrendous. I think that a lot of people have criticized The Boys over the years for being shock value over plot. I've always disagreed, and this season I will stop disagreeing. That's exactly what
this season did seem to like it was more shock value over plot. The problem with the Homelander, going real quick, the problem I had with the Homelander going back to where he grew up was it didn't seem to do anything. It was just because like he's talking to himself in the mirror in the 3 different versions, and then they all agreed he needs to go back where it started. And then he goes back to where it started. He killed everybody, right? Worked through his childhood trauma. And then, but he's still having the weird moments. He's still having like the tinnitus moment where he's just hearing this. So it's like it didn't do anything. He's still acting the same as before he went. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
nothing
at the end,
changed.
He's destroyed his apartment. He's sitting there like, oh, it all failed. Blah 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 blah. And then Sister H comes in and tells him,
yeah.
So it's like that plot point didn't do anything. It served no purpose other than to show that, once again, for those who didn't realize it yet, Homelander is a psychopath.
Yep. Yep, he's a real psychopath. Yeah. It just doesn't.
There was a lot of moments like that for me where it was
is a pointless season.
Exactly.
Is how I'm feeling.
Yeah, there was a lot of pointless plots in this season.
I like just got quiet,
written, but just served no purpose.
As you were saying that, I just like paused and I just like really had like a somber moment in like silence in my brain that was like, this was pointless.
Yeah. That's how I felt about it. Not that it was necessarily, like I said, not badly written or badly acted, or not well written, but not badly written at the same time. Or acting was, still on par, I think, with the other seasons. But yeah,
we just wasted a bunch of time. We just wasted time.
Much like this review. Because we started off saying we didn't really like it, and we can end with we didn't really like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So realistically, based off of my own criteria, what was the point of all of the in-between?
Oh my God.
We could have knocked it out in 10 minutes.
Guys, give us your criticism, your scathing review of our review in the comments. Because
I just, like, as I'm saying it, like, realistically, we started it and we ended it in the exact same spot. So realistically, there was
this is my fault. Because Benny usually reels me back in.
He kind of like, no, I love this and I love this. I'm the same thing with me and Ben. Like, I'm generally like, well, I didn't like this, I didn't like this, or whatever like that. But I really, when I really like something, I really like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ben and me would have that all the time. He'd be like, no, this is great. I'd be like, nah, it sucks. I didn't like it.
Look, I'll work on it for the next review, guys, because we're doing House of the Dragon. But I like that show more.
I'm really liking this season of House of the Dragon. So yeah.
My complaints,
other than the
Damon and Harrenhal.
I
don't care about this, dude.
It started off really good, and then it's just like, why are we still here?
Very, very silly. But I think, we're gonna end off there. Please keep the conversation going. We're gonna be covering Gen V when that drops. And let us know.
I have to watch the first season. I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch the first season?
I didn't watch the first season, yeah.
It was required viewing for this season of The Boys.
I figured it out.
Oh my God.
Actually, what I did was I was like, wait, when was that a thing? Oh, Gen V. Okay.
Okay. So that's such a what happens at the end, those two characters from Gen V that show up. Yeah. It's all massive spoilers for Gen V.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Oh my God. Okay.
I Googled it though. I caught up. I'm fine. That's the joy of the internet.
Andy successfully pulled a Benny this episode and is missing key information before reviewing a season, and that's what we kind of love.
But in my defense, unlike Ben, it didn't affect my viewing. I wasn't like, well, this doesn't even make any sense. Why even talk about this?
That's fair. That's fair.
That's what Ben always did. Thank you.
He would be like,
he would
there's
just
no point to what we're watching right now.
Yeah, look, it doesn't even make any sense. And it's
I
like,
don't even understand the plot. It's like,
yeah.
The answer is in the question, Benny. You don't understand the plot.
Yeah, that doesn't mean
That's
nobody
the problem.
understands it.
Everybody else got it. But guys, we've been absolutely. This has been our roller coaster review of The Boys season 4. Expect structure and probably shorter videos in the future.
Yeah.
But this has been a lot of fun, and I'm Hassan. That's Andy. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.